Welcome back. This is the third video in the Pinterest Learning Series. It's titled Get Pinning. In this video, we'd like to cover 4 different topics. We'd like to talk about creating pin boards. We'd like to talk about pinning items. We'd like to talk about uploading images and pinning those items, and then repinning items from other websites to create cross-traffic. If we look in the upper right-hand corner, we can go ahead and choose our Add button. And once we do, a box will appear that'll give us 3 options. We can either add a pin, upload a pin, or we can create a pin board. Let's go ahead and create a pin board first. Now we have a few decisions to make. Let's choose a board name with a term or terms that people would typically use when they search for us. The example here is Fair Trade Blankets. Next, we'd have to pick the board's category. In this case, it's Home Decor. And we can see that we have an option here. If, let's say, there's another person in our store that's going to help us pin objects, what we can do is add that person's email address here and then bring them into the board creation process. Now let's hit Create Board. And then we'll notice we get a screen up where we can see that we now have a board created with our name, Fair Trade Blankets. And the next thing we can do is edit the board, and then we can go ahead and add a description. The one thing we should do is make sure that our description is peppered with searchable terms. That way people are going to find our pins and find our boards. So once we add a description, we'll see that same screen again, but this time we can notice that our description is there. So now that we have a board, we're ready to pin. So let's talk about pinning. Pins can be created in one of 3 ways. We can either pin images from our website or from another website. We can upload images that we might have stored on a server and pin those to our boards, or we can repin images from someone else's board. Let's look at adding a pin from our website first. The first thing we need to do is just browse to the product page. This is the page where the person would actually buy the object, because that's where we want someone to come when they click on a pin from our board. So once we arrive at a product page, the only thing we need to do is to hit that Pin It button that we bookmarked on our website browser. And what we'll notice is that a page will come up and Pinterest will search the page and bring up as many objects as it can. You'll notice that it won't bring up the really tiny objects that might be on a web page. But as we look here, the one that we're most interested in is the blanket. And so when we hover our mouse pointer over that image, we'll see a Pin It button pop up. When we choose that button, then we'll see a gray box pop up that we have outlined here in orange. And this box is basically asking us, hey, tell us what board you want this pin to be on and give us a description. And once you do that, you can go ahead and hit the Pin It button. And once we do hit the Pin It button, then we get a success screen up. And we can see that we could either see our pin and perhaps change something. Maybe we don't like the description. Maybe we misspelled a word. But we can also tweet about the pin we just made, and we can share on Facebook. Now this is a great thing to do, but if you plan on spending an afternoon uploading 100 pins, please don't tweet and share those with your Facebook friends. They'll unfriend you quicker than anything. So the next topic we might want to look at is how to upload a pin. And what we'll do is we'll choose the Add button. The box will appear again that gives us the 3 choices, and this time we want to select the middle one. We want to upload a pin. And really the pinning process here is really the same. It's just that this time we have to tell Pinterest where the image is. And so we'll go ahead and use that upload a pin box. We'll browse to our image, and then we'll basically fill in the same information we did before, and then we'll hit the Pin It button. And then we'll get another success screen up where we could basically edit this pin if we happen to notice that there isn't something that, just isn't exactly the way we want it to be. The third thing we can look at here is repinning. And the repinning process is the same really as the pinning process. This time, let's say that we're going to go to, a like-minded store. It's a store where we don't really compete against each other, but we do sell to the same audience. In this case, we want to go to their product page. We want to pin the item. And keep in mind, if that person hasn't done a really great job of describing their product, this is an opportunity for you to enhance that description some. So that really wraps up our discussion. We've talked about pinning items from a website, we've talked about uploading and pinning items, and we've talked about pinning items so that we can create cross-traffic between someone else's pin boards and, let's say, our website. So coming up in our next video, we really want to talk about inviting customers and friends, finding new customers, posting and tweeting, returning the favor, and a starting point. That video is called Attracting an Audience. So we'll see you next time.